Hey YouTube, it's Renee coming at you again with a video on this Sunday evening. It is August 2nd at 1:38 p.m. How the time has flown. It was a beautiful day here in San Francisco. Lots of sun, blue skies. There was a little breeze today. We've been having a heat wave for the past week or so, and it's hot. It's about 80 degrees during the day. It's hot, and I can't stand it. So the later it gets, the cooler it gets. I've got the fan on, my window open, trying to catch that breeze. But on this Sunday, for the past 3 Sundays, I've been thinking a lot about church. And I had to ask myself, why don't I go to church anymore? It's gotten so bad that, I just don't go to church anymore. I don't look for church homes anymore. I have no interest in it, to be very honest. I've just had enough experience in it that I'm not thinking about it. And I have been having really good Sundays. Sometimes I'll listen to a Baptist church that broadcasts on the radio, KDIA AM, here in the San Francisco Bay Area, would broadcast from Greater St. John Missionary Baptist Church. Not a Baptist, but I do listen to the service, and I enjoy the sermons, and I like a good sermon. It gives me something to reflect on all during the week and keep myself strong in my faith. I'm a Christian. I believe in God and His Son Jesus Christ, Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. That's me, I grew up a Catholic, became a Presbyterian. That's just part of me. I like going to church. I like hearing a sermon, but I'm not looking for a church anymore. And I had to think about why, and I kind of summed it up in 3 points. Churches can be ineffective. And what I mean by that is, when you have a church, it's usually in a certain kind of community. It could be in a certain neighborhood. Like I was going to a church in a black neighborhood, and there were so many different things that we could be doing. It's really kind of hard to narrow it down and say, okay, we need to focus on this, that, and the other. But there were committees formed and work was to be done. I'm very serious when I'm working in a committee, just like I am if I was being paid to do it. I'm serious about organizing and then doing the work and then meeting to see, okay, how can we do this better? So for example, there were a lot of hungry children in the neighborhood. They relied, I think, on school lunches and breakfast, and programs were getting cut and things like that. So it's like, okay, let's feed the kids. And there's so much political drama that you have to go through to get kids fed, and then people bickering and the rest of it, which I'm not saying it's any different in any other thing. It could be bickering in your home. It could be bickering on your job. So of course there's going to be bickering at church, but to me it just killed the whole vibe of saying, let's come together and do these things. And if we have a disagreement, pull me aside, let's talk about it. But oh my God, the drama. I mean, you could get argued with, talked about, all while you're just trying to feed hungry kids. And to me, that's ridiculous. The priority is, let's get the kids fed. You don't have to like me. You don't have to like working with me and the rest of it. Can we just feed the kids? That's just real life. But anyway, so that was one thing that I didn't like. Second thing, come as you are. I think a lot of us have heard that people will say, Jesus said, come as you are. And they translate it into modern day, or we think of it in modern day terms, and it's like, well, if you're going to church, you should be free to come as you are. Meaning no matter what state in your journey you're in, if you're depressed, if you're doing well, doesn't matter. Whatever stage in your journey, come as you are. But people kind of translate it into your clothes as well. So when people show up wearing jeans and flip-flops, because the doors of the church are open, we had strangers come in, You know, that was not uncommon to have somebody just walk in and say, wow, I heard the music, I really liked it, so I came in through the doors. People were saying that all the time. Then people have to start whispering about him. Ooh, he looks like he hasn't had a bath. Ooh, look at his shoes. I get it. Sometimes that is funny. You know, somebody came in with some crocodile skin shoes with a real snake head on the foot. Stuff like that happens, and it's funny and the rest of it. But think of how that's making that person feel. They came as they were. They were just walking down the street and they came in. Is it really cool to sit there and laugh at people and to make them feel uncomfortable? And to judge each other like it's a fashion show. I'd be going into church neat and clean. I didn't always dress up, but you know, neat and clean. Usually I would try to wear a dress and some sort of heel kind of thing. You know, I was trying to look respectful and the rest of it. And people would comment to me about how I was dressed. And I was like, why are you commenting about what I'm wearing? Why is that up for discussion? And it's how they do it. A lot of nice, nasty comments. You look kind of cute in that. And I don't know. It's just too much extra put onto it. So it's not that real feeling is come as you are. You know, people are fake to your face. But then if you're observant enough, you see them talking about you over in the cuts. She thought she was cute coming in here with that dress. It's too tight on her. Don't you think that's too short? Just talking all kind of mess about you. Look at her talking to those men. You know, you can't win. It's always some talking and it's always some judging about how you came through the door. So if you share your experience about something, if you give a testimony, people got to talk about that too. I thought so about her. And then people were just kind of standoffish. I remember complimenting somebody after she did give up and give a testimony about her rough beginnings, some horrible things that happened to her, but she is a survivor. And I stood in line because people had gathered around her and they were talking to her. And I didn't know her just from coming into church, and I gave her a compliment. I said, thank you for sharing your testimony and whatever. And she gave me the dirtiest look, looked at me up and down, and I'm thinking to myself, what did I say? I'm saying what everybody else was saying, that you were brave to get up and share your testimony, and thanks for doing that. And she was mad at me. I don't know why, but it was too much drama because I was like, you know, what was that about? It was some weird shit like that. Just, oh, excuse me for cursing, but it's weird stuff like that that happens that turns me off of going to church because I'm there to worship. I'm there to be worshiping in a group. We're supposed to be working together in the group as a community and the rest of it. And it just felt like there were too many cliques with that. Yeah, that could be a whole thing, the cliquishness of it. If you don't fit in with a lot of these people, you know, you're left by yourself. Even though you're there to work, you're working. You're actually working. You're doing stuff. We would tutor kids. We would feed the kids. We did vacation Bible school where you're really teaching Bible lessons. You're not just, it's not a game. It's real work. And you could sit there and work with a group of people and then they want to ostracize you. She thinks she's cute over there. It's just so ridiculous. And half of the time you don't even know why they're coming at you the way they are, when really and truly you're sharing of yourself. Like if you have a gift for teaching and then you're teaching during vacation Bible school, that's what you're there for, not to hear how you think you're cute. It's just weird to me, but whatever. The last thing I thought of that I really and truly do not miss about going to church on a regular basis: the men. Somebody somewhere, some dude was sitting around and said, you know what? Go get you some of them church girls. Because these men would come to church just to pick up women. You could tell the ones. I had one that was so bold, he came up to me and said, you could buy me lunch. And he was in a wheelchair. And he said, my wheelchair folds up, it'll fit in the back of your car. And he was serious. And I was like, do I even know you? Who? What? And I just found it interesting. And then when I mentioned to someone else, I said, I don't know this man. Who is he? Because he asked me to take him to lunch. I mean, do we need to give him some food vouchers? What is going on? So all the women were saying how this man kept approaching them, telling them, okay, you could buy me dinner, and like trying to hit on him, trying to find a place to lay his head and the rest of it. And I was like, wow, you know. There was another guy that came in, he hit on everybody, it seemed. A few of the women dated him. He was coming on to me real strong. I couldn't even sit down. You know how after church sometimes they sell plates or there's a celebration for something, so there's food. So you're sitting down with your plate, you're eating, you're trying to relax. This guy came up to me while I have fried chicken in my mouth. And you know, when you're hungry after church, you're eating. It's not cute. He gonna come over there. Yeah, I'd like to take you to the movies, and yeah, and I like my women thick, so what size are you? And looking at me up and down while I'm eating. And I couldn't believe it. And he's trying to tell me about how much money he had and how he worked at his own business, and he was this, he was that, and he was whatever. Yeah, he was also married. So the married men were a trip too, because the married men would come up to you when their wives were somewhere else. They'd come over, yeah, well, I'd like to take you out for coffee. Yeah, why don't we go out we look good together, look at us standing. And it was a trip, you know. And it was the kind of situation where if you were to say, excuse me, brother so and so, aren't you married? That they would flip it on you and be like, girl, I was just paying you a compliment, and what's wrong with you? It was too much of that. You know, all the married men who were hitting on other women, shame on y'all, because y'all knew what y'all were doing. You know, you could play it off all you want, but you knew, I know, and it was a big, huge turnoff. And I think what really made it uncomfortable was when we would hug each other. You know, you hug and say, you know, God bless you and happy Sunday, whatever. Well, some men would pull you in for a tight hug. They would smash your breasts against them and rub on your butt. And after a while, I said, because I can't check everybody every day. So guess what? No hugs. I'll shake your hand. So I would see them coming and I'm shaking your hand. Then they talked about me, you think you're too good and shaking people's hands, but you can't hug them. I got tired of having my booty rubbed. Thank you. But I did get tired of having my butt rubbed. And so I'm not saying that happens in every church. I'm just talking about my church experience. And for a while, I went around the Bay Area just looking for a church that I can go to every Sunday because I love the music. I love a good sermon. I love Bible study. I love having a consistent connection, you know, with community and God and the rest of it. But for the last few Sundays, I've just been doing that on my own, looking at the beauty of the world on my own. And since I stopped going to church, I like to hope I do a lot of God's work. I'm not perfect, but I do things that I see a need and then I fix it. And I'm not gonna list all the things that I do because I'm not trying to brag on them or anything like that. I don't want that misunderstood, but I try to act like a Christian. So that's my Sunday thoughts. It was just heavy on my mind, so I wanted to get that out. And it is getting close to midnight, so I'm gonna get ready to go to sleep. So I wish everybody a good Sunday and have a good week, and I'll be back soon.